Conversion from crime to Christ. I first wrote my story of conversion from crime to Christ and published it on the 11th of February 2001. This was some 30 years after the event, which took place on the 16th of January 1970. The moving cause of publishing the story was that in 1993 I had received news of my older brother Michael from the Philippines, where he'd been sentenced to prison for a term of 16 years. He was housed in New Bilibid Prison, the maximum compound, the national prison of the Philippines. I learned this via the ITN National Television News Network.
Headquarters of ITN News at 10 with Trevor McDonald.
In 1993 in the UK. It was several years later that Michael wrote to me from within the prison informing me of his bad health, mental condition and depressed suicidal state of mind. It was 1 year later he wrote to inform me of a remarkable change that had taken place in his life and of his outlook. He was reading the Bible and classical Christian literature and was convinced that Jesus was the Christ, the Son of the living God. And I could tell from his writing he was ever so much better in health and outlook. So I wrote to him again, instructing him to be baptised as a Christian within the prison and, if necessary, get one of his fellow prisoners, who too had become a Christian, to baptise him. This he did, and Lucas Dangatton, a former prison inmate, did so on the 16th of September 2000. It was this that moved me, as I felt compelled to write our stories of conversions from crime to Christ. The full story is told in our books, Converted on LSD Trip, Borstal Boys, and Such Were Some of You, and now Bierton Strict and Particular Baptists. Sadly, Michael died of tuberculosis in the prison in 1995. It has been my intention, and still is, to record in detail all the important stages and events of my conversion and experience as a Christian, both the good and the bad, in order to demonstrate the goodness of God to us both, and my growth in the grace of God and in the knowledge of the Lord Jesus Christ through my reading the Bible and classical Christian literature. The following is a transcript from the book on the chapter entitled Conversion from Crime to Christ, date 16th of January 1970, at which time I was having a bad trip on LSD. I was not a Christian, but a young criminal.